Hey everyone, the long-awaited Gym Tips 3 is finally here. Doing this, and then tomorrow we have a short coming out, and then later this week I have another video coming out, so bear with me while I get all those done, but hope you enjoy. Today I'm going to be talking about nutrition and sleep. I'm sure a lot of you are here just for the audio and the concepts or whatever, so I'll just jump right into it. This is an unscripted video today, so I hope you all enjoy. I'm sure the video itself is going to be like 7 or 8 minutes, so it should be pretty palatable for everyone. So why does nutrition and sleep matter? You can have, I guess, the best workout plan in the world, but if you're lacking in nutrition and sleep, you're really just spinning your own wheels. You're not getting any further. You're not going to build muscle, you're not going to get adequate recovery, and it's going to hinder your performance overall. There's one time this was a couple weeks ago, I had like 4 hours of sleep the night before, and I went to the gym pretty early in the morning, and I was just running off pre-workout basically. I tried to go for not a bench PR, but like pretty heavy weight for my reps usually, and it was not very fun. I could not do my usual weight, and I thought I was just having a bad day, but then I didn't realize that the fact that I had literally like no sleep the night before. That's just a little personal anecdote, but I'll get more into the actual science behind why it's important. People always say, "Oh, abs aren't made in the gym; they're made in the kitchen or whatever." And honestly, it's kind of a right sentiment. Your gains are obviously built in the gym. Well, I guess they're broken down in the gym because you break down the muscle when you're lifting, but they're built and repaired in the kitchen when you're having protein, all the macronutrients you need. So to break everything down first, I'd like to talk a little bit about macronutrients, kind of a one-on-one thing. There are 3 basic macronutrients that you need to keep your body functioning. The first is protein. Protein, lots of people, I'm sure you already know what it is. It's basically just a chain of amino acids that is used to specifically build a cell for, in our case, that we're discussing, muscles. So these help with muscle repair and adequate growth after you break them down. So the goal for protein is typically 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but I typically eat a little over 1 gram, usually 1.2 to 1.5. If I'm really trying to build muscle. The 0.7 to 1 gram is primarily just for, I guess, homeostasis purposes, so if you're just in a maintenance cycle. But if you're really trying to build muscle, you can have more than that. But if you have too much, it's like if you drink too much water. At a certain point, it doesn't really do much for you, so just kind of be careful about that. If it doesn't make sense, then let me just put it in number perspective. If you're 160 pounds like me, you're going to eat 110 to 160 grams of protein per day. The next macronutrient that is pretty important for you is carbs. These kind of fuel your workouts. Carbs are basically just energy. A lot of these are sugars, which are simple carbs, but the more important ones are complex carbs. So these could be like oats, rice, potatoes, and fruit. These are very important for energizing your workouts and giving you the energy that you need to do anything, honestly. Carbs are very important, but they're also high in calorie typically. So if you're trying to lose weight or you're on a cut or something like that, don't cut out carbs entirely because it's not healthy and it's not sustainable, but lower your carb intake. You will feel a little more groggy, you will have less energy, but it's a really easy way to take high calories out of your diet. The third macronutrient is fats. These are typically found in olive oil, nuts, fish, and avocados. They primarily support hormonal health and joint support. Basically, having good fats in your diet regulates your hormone levels and it'll keep your body in balance, especially also your gut environment. So fats are very important. Also, similar to carbs, they are typically higher in calories. So if you want to cut down on your calories, you can cut down on your fats, but don't remove them entirely because that'll really mess with your body and you don't want that. Next, we're going to talk about a little bit about, I guess, protein sources. This is pretty quick. I just want to give a few examples as to what you can use to get your protein that you need. One of them, the easiest and most important source of protein for anyone, is chicken. Chicken is very lean, it's very easy to get, it's very cheap, and it provides a really good source of lean protein. And I would definitely recommend that or fish. Fish is also very lean, and there's basically no fats at all. It has a lot of omega-3s typically for things like salmon, which are very important for brain health. So I'd recommend chicken and fish as sources of lean protein. You can get lean beef. There are versions of beef out there that are pretty lean, that has less fats, thus less calories, and it still maintains that protein count that you need. Also eggs, they're higher in fat if you have it with the yolk, but if you have just the egg whites, it's really low in calorie, really high in protein. Would totally recommend it. Outside sources other than the main ones would be Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and whey protein. Whey protein I'll get into a little bit in a sec, but Greek yogurt and cottage cheese, they don't taste the best. I mean, yogurt's fine. And they're also a little more expensive typically, but they are very concentrated in protein, and you can incorporate them into meals, especially cottage cheese. You can cook with cottage cheese, and Greek yogurt's really easy for a dessert or something like that, so I'd recommend using those. And then whey protein is probably the best protein isolate that I can think of. It's really, it's a byproduct, I think, of pasteurizing milk and dairy products. So they isolate that protein into whey protein, and they put it usually in the form of a powder or something like that. So you can get your whey protein through protein shakes that you buy at the store. You can also get it through milk, but I would recommend just getting the powder version because it's really easy to consume that. You can mix it with yogurt, you can mix it with milk or whatever. You can mix it with water, doesn't matter. But yeah, whey protein is really just the best isolate protein I could think of. And then plant-based proteins, those are pretty useful. You don't get plant-based protein powder. I don't think it's probably the best. I think you're better off getting whey. Things like beans, lentils, or black beans, pinto beans, all those kinds of beans, tofu, seitan, pea protein, they're all forms of plant-based protein, and they're very helpful to add to your protein diet. I don't think they're the best necessarily for protein synthesis purposes. Your body can't synthesize it, I think, as well as whey protein products, but they're a good substitute. And if you're like vegetarian or something like that, or vegan, then yeah, plant-based protein is going to be your go-to. In terms of meal prep timing and recovery, I would say before your workout, you can have carbs, a few carbs, something pretty simple, I guess. Honestly, if you're really in a rush, you can just have like a few pieces of candy, I guess half the serving size, and it'll really fuel you up. A little bit of protein, I wouldn't recommend too much, but if you're gonna just think of a good pre-workout snack, just have like a banana and peanut butter or rice and eggs or something like that. For your post-workout, protein and carbs are definitely the most important because you need to repair your muscles, and you need to refill your glycogen stores. So definitely don't skip past that. You're going to want to have high protein and some carbs into that. Now the third thing I want to talk about, I think this is the third thing, I don't even know, sleep. Sleep is very important. You need like 7 to 9 hours per night. That's kind of the sweet spot. And sleep is probably one of the best things you can do for your body, getting adequate sleep. When you're sleeping, your body releases a growth hormone. So it's literally muscle building. It's a muscle building hormone, right? It helps repair your muscles. It helps grow them. It helps build them back better than they were before. Now, bad sleep, on the other hand, definitely kills gains. If you have lower sleep, you'll have higher cortisol, which is a stress hormone, so you'll feel higher stress levels, which is not good. You'll typically also have lower testosterone, which is definitely integral to building adequate muscle and to repairing muscle, so lower testosterone is not great. You'll have poor recovery, soreness, and lower performance overall, and it'll also mess with your diet and your palate, so sticking to your diet a little bit more tough. In terms of sleep tips that actually work, I typically do meditation before I fall asleep, and that really helps. Anything to just kind of calm your mind will typically help you. Having a consistent waking up and bedtime, even on the weekends, is definitely going to help you to just get up and go to bed, and your circadian rhythm's going to follow that. Making sure your room is cold and dark. Most people already know this, but in case you didn't, it just kind of helps you fall asleep. I struggle with this one, limiting screen time before bed. That's definitely something I gotta work on. I usually just have my phone on until like 5 minutes before I go to bed, and then I can turn it off. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I think turning it off around an hour before you go to bed is probably the best. And then caffeine cutoff. I don't really drink caffeine too much, but if you are a coffee drinker, don't drink it before like 6 to 8 hours before you sleep. And that could really just keep you awake for a little longer than you want to be. This is the TLDR section, I guess, if you just skip to the end because you wanted to see what happens. Hello. If you don't want to grow in the gym, then don't eat well and don't sleep well. If you do want to grow in the gym, hit your macros, especially protein, and also get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Thank you all for watching. Glad you made it to the end. Like I said before earlier in the video, there will be another video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be short, and then the next, I guess, long form video will be out on I don't have a specific date for it, but it'll be out later this week, so stay tuned for that. I'm probably going to put a poll out. I do want to hear your guys' comments on what you think I should make next in terms of videos. I am really interested in doing an inbox type video. I know I'm just bandwagoning on every other small YouTuber or whatever who is doing the inbox series, but honestly, it really interests me, and I think it would be cool if I can get some of you guys' emails in or responses on a YouTube poll or something like that as to what I could talk about, if I can maybe give you advice on something, or if you just want to share a little bit of info that I could discuss on a longer form video, whatever is really cool. So I will hopefully get that set up soon. If you guys want to hear more about that, then yeah, be sure to follow up in the comments or something like that. I read all of your comments and I like them, so don't worry about if I miss it. Anyways, thank you for watching and have a great day.